Story 1. Guy quit his job, thinking he became rich. I work for a construction company, and we do remodeling on homes. We have a rule here that we get to keep anything we find hidden behind the walls. We hired this guy, we really needed a worker badly, who was a total jerk from day one. I've been working for this company for 5 years, and this guy has only been doing construction for 1 year after he got fired from his accounting job for getting a DUI. He would always make fun of my clothes and my accent, and one day he went too far by telling my boss about my private Instagram account pics. He got on my phone and looked through my Instagram page and showed my boss pictures of me smoking weed. Little did he know that my boss is my friend from 8 years when we used to smoke together before we both quit. I was so mad that he violated my privacy. Then I made a plan to screw him over. He was the kind of guy who would always come in late and complain that trains or traffic is why he was always late. One day, I overheard him saying that if he won the lottery, he would quit his job for not getting the respect he deserves. You have to earn your respect here. One day, I bought some fake gold coins online, and I put them in a metal box I found at the antique store and waited for a chance to hide it in a wall. Luckily, I didn't have to wait long. The day he found the coins, it seemed like it was his best day ever. First thing he did when he opened the box, he called my boss and called him a loser, then quit his job then and there. Little did he know that was the best day of my life. After he quit, my boss told us that he was going to fire him anyway for always showing up late. I wish I could see the look on his face when he finds out the gold coins are fake. Best $40 I spent in my life. Story 2. Steal my petrol, pay thousands of euros. So about 2 years ago, in April to May, we noticed that the petrol in our outdoor tank was going down very quickly, even though the amount we used was very little. After a bit of investigating, we found a pipe that had been installed that led to his side of the land. Recently, he got this huge new car that obviously needed a bunch of gas, and it seemed that along with some being used overtime, there were huge amounts used every week, so he was presumably filling his car. To stop him, my dad hatched a plan. Keep in mind we could not call the cops on him, as they would do nothing because his nephew was a policeman, and we live in Greece, so, family ties and stuff. Okay, so here's the planning. Since this was during the summer, we waited until he went on holiday. He was quite rich, and then disconnected our house from the pipes, so there would be no chance of him suspecting everything. We kept the charade up until he came back and went back to using our petrol. We noticed a pattern to when he used our petrol to fill his car, I think every 4 to 5 days, and we used this to our advantage. The day before he filled it up, we topped it up with some soap water and mixed it around in order to make it petrol color, with any petrol left over, and we removed just enough of it for it to have the same color. For those of you who do not know, water in the gas tank is a no-no, and it causes a lot of damage that is very expensive. So this completely destroyed his gas tank, and the damage was so great, it was cheaper to sell his car. At that time, it was summer, and so we did not need gas to heat up water. Due to the water in his heating system, as it was plugged into our tank filled with the petrol-water mixture, the metal started eroding and rusting or something, and water made it through the pipes, and so it was in contact with the concrete, which made it moldy and weak. A few months later, it made it through the concrete and a piece of the ceiling collapsed and all the petrol water flooded in. It obviously cost him a lot of money to fix it, as well as the money lost with the car and the heating system. I can only assume it was in the thousands. Story 3. Revenge is best served frozen. We don't own a car and live at the end of a cul-de-sac. I have people use my driveway all the time to turn around. It's not a huge deal to me, a little annoying when they compact the snow and it's harder to shovel, but whatever. One of my neighbors had a ride service come pick up their child every day. The van would park in my spot and begin honking at like 8 a.m. I worked nights at the time. Half the time he'd half parked on my grass. I told my neighbor that I don't overly mind my spot being used, but not if he's going to honk like that every morning, and especially not if he's going to drive over what little lawn I have every time. She spoke with him, he ignored it. I spoke with him and got, "What's your problem, man? It's not like you're using it." To which I repeated that I don't mind him using it if he stays off my grass and doesn't honk every morning. Apparently, suggesting he wait till the kid notices he's there or, God forbid, he have to drag his butt out of the car to knock on a door was just ridiculous and inhumane of me. so I left a recycle bin at the foot of my driveway. He just ran it over. I called the dispatch for the ride service and was told they're subcontractors and technically self-employed, but they will pass along the message. I wake up the next day to pounding on my door. Dude is pissed. He goes, "How dare you call my boss, you stupid piece of shit? What the fuck is wrong with you?" Well, it's quite simple. You were told not to use my driveway if you were going to drive on my lawn and wake me up every morning. Now, get off my doorstep. He goes, "I'll sue you if I lose my job because of you." You've been warned. Don't trespass on my driveway or property again. Dude storms off in a huff, spouting obscenities, etc. So this happened on a Thursday. The kids have a PD day the next day, and it's supposed to be one of those delightful Canadian weekends where it drops to like minus 40 degrees Celsius. For my American friends, minus 40 is where Celsius and Fahrenheit meet up, so it's freaking cold. So that night, I grabbed one of my more beat-up plastic garbage bins, made sure to plug all the holes with a generous amount of duct tape, stuck a sign on it that read, "Private property, driveway not for public use," and proceeded to fill it to the brim with water so it would freeze overnight. Now, before anyone thinks I'm a jerk willing to potentially endanger the other kids in the car, I'd like to point out that my neighbor's kid is the first to be picked up, so it's just him in the car. Cue Monday morning. He sees the garbage can, backs up a bit more, and defiantly charges the garbage can as if to teach me a lesson, and proceeds to cause some pretty serious damage to the front end of his car. Dude gets out fuming, calls the cops, and comes pounding on my door, screaming about how I'm going to buy him a new car and that I'm about to be arrested. The cop goes, "So let me make sure I understand this situation. He asked you not to park here if you couldn't refrain from honking, then warned you not to park here and put up a barrier. Now you expect him to be charged and pay for damages you caused yourself to your vehicle in an attempt to destroy his own personal property?" I will never forget the look on his face when the officer said, "Yeah, that's not how this works," and turned to me and asking if I wanted to pursue charges for him damaging my personal property. I just gave him the biggest grin I could muster and said, "Nah, I think we're good." I then went back inside to enjoy a morning coffee while watching him from my kitchen window as he paced back and forth in the cold waiting for a tow truck and having to call the company he worked for to explain why they needed to send out another driver to complete his route.